Ladies and gentlemen, we are keeping in line with our All-Star Week guest host, whatever you want to call this special week. And there is none more special than this gentleman I got with me today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know him, get ready to know him. He is a Cubs extraordinaire. Blake Cowell is with me. But first, we got to hit you with that intro. Welcome in, everybody, to your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs Central. I am your host, Mike Jones. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Do me a favor, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, as well as you hit that notifications bell so that you never miss any of the content we have right here on the network. And guys, listen, I promised you I was bringing you the heat all week long, and we've had Cody, we've had Ty, but I had to save one of the best for last. So I bring in today my guest host for today. Been watching this gentleman do his thing on social media now for about 2 years. I mean, really ever since I took over here on Central. And I'm like, man, that this is one of the goals. So I'm excited to finally have this partnership happen, to meet this gentleman and to talk about our favorite subject together, these Chicago Cubs. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming to the podcast for the very first time, Blake Cowell. Welcome to the pod, Blake. How you doing? And I still screwed it up, didn't I? Still screwed that last name up.
Little stutter in there, but it's all right. It's all right. Mike, thanks for having me, man. What an intro. I love your your intro video there too. That's fire. So
thanks, bro. Thanks. Appreciate it, man.
I like the presentation there. So yeah, thanks for having me on. Excited to talk about this team. I think we're in a spot where we can be excited about the Cubs. Like, I feel like the first half I've been just like scouring the internet. Like, some people want to be really pessimistic, but I'm choosing to be on the side of optimism. I'm excited to hear where you're at. I want to kind of hopefully shed some light on your listeners and your fans too of why we should be excited moving forward. So excited to get into it. And thanks again for having me.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you have not already, go follow Blake on Instagram. Go follow him on X. Guys, Cubs content all the time. Dude talks the facts. He also gives you all the, as you will see and through our conversation, not only does he give you facts, he also backs it up with the analytics. He also backs it up. He's a smart baseball fan. So somebody you definitely want to listen to, because his opinion doesn't just come from his heart. It comes from actual facts. So I enjoy listening to him when he talks. Like, him and Cody have such educated baseball conversation when they chit chat, and I'm just it's for me, it's just a pleasure to sit and listen to. Like finding somebody that's not just shooting from the hip, like they actually got something to back it up with. So of course, when I sent the DM, like, yo, bro, I need to have you on the pod, man. He was like, of course. I'm like, yes. So with that being said, all right, I'm gonna set this up. I'm gonna set the stage, and then I'm gonna let you take it from there, because they listen to me talk every day. What I need to know from you is, if you would have told me that the Chicago Cubs would go on 2 10-game win streaks, go on a 10-game losing streak, that they would lose Cade Horton immediately as the season started, that you would have Jameson Taillon on the injury reserve list, that you would have Shota Imanaga kind of trying to struggle to find his way, that you would have what else can I give you? That you would have Alex Bregman not even look anything like himself until the last 2 weeks of this portion of the season. That somehow, some way, they messed up Nico Horner's swing and plate discipline, and all of a sudden he looks like a completely different hitter. But yet, and somehow, the Chicago Cubs find themselves 12 games above 500 as they enter into play. What if I told you all of that before the season started, what would you say?
PCA must be an MVP level player.
Yes.
I would have said that probably before the season anyway, because again, I love being in that false hope. But in all seriousness, with everything given what you just said, and then finishing with, and they're 12 games over 500, it'd be tough to believe you. Right? Yeah. Because it's not like the bullpen's great.
No.
The guys who have filled in have been fine. Colin
Sure.
Ray and Javier Assad have been fine for what they're asked to do. I would say they're a little step above fine. And the lineup's been, yeah, they've had their moments. Like they've had their elite moments and they've had their poor moments. And you could throw in there too. Yeah, Michael Conforto is going to be your everyday platoon bat against right-handed pitching. And I'd say, oh, okay. Ooh. And they're 12 games above 500. So I
Right.
guess I have to start all that with credit to Craig Counsell and the coaching staff. Like
Mhm.
credit to them. And I've been more pessimistic around Craig Counsell this year than I
Mhm.
have in years past because kind of like how I was talking with Cody last night, like this is the year where the pressure's on.
Yeah.
This is not 2022 or 2023 anymore where it's like, okay, like there's a lot of upside on this team. Like the floor is low, but the upside's high. Let's see where we land. No, like the floor is high for this team.
True.
And the ceiling should be the World Series before the season. Now that expectation kind of changes with where we're at with pitching. But I got to give Craig Counsell a ton of credit for just like not losing the locker room and keeping everyone on kind of just the same plane of, hey, like even in our hot streaks, we got to stay down here. Even in our low streaks, we got to stay in the middle. And they've really done that. So I got to give him a ton of credit. I got to give, PCA and some of the other leaders a ton of credit, like even Dansby Swanson, who was abysmal for a
Yes.
greater portion of the season and then decided to turn into Barry Bonds for 3 weeks. Like it shows a testament to the veteran leadership on this team and shows a testament to the experience on this team to be where they're at. So that's why I have a ton of optimism for the second half, because if you can weather that storm
Right.
of losing your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like you're down to your 10th, 11th, and 12th. Like Drew Peterson, Colin Ray, and Javier Assad are starting games. Like if you can weather that storm, the
Right.
second half's a cakewalk. Throw anything at us now. Like, come on, bring it.
I love your optimism and optimistic behavior and thought process behind this. And the reason I say that is because they are battle tested now.
Right.
And I mean, literally just watching everything that they went through in that first half. And I mean, again, I was so thankful for this week break, and even a break from like podcasting as much as just a week break from baseball for like to get my emotions in check, to get my life in order. Like, man, because again, when you're doing this every day, it's like, dude, like, you got to watch every game and you feel the emotions and the feelings that the team goes through. And I'm telling you, man, this group and what they took us through, they took us on a ride, brother, for the last past couple of months. And I mean, it's been some really, really high emotional highs, like you said, like where you're thinking like, oh my gosh, like, dude, we might really 10 years after the last World Series win another one this year. And then you went from that to, dude, we might not even make the playoffs at all. Like, and so I'm good. I'm happy and thankful that the way I'm gauging this is exactly how other Cubs content creators are gauging this too. Because I feel like we've all had the same general consensus of thought process of, I mean, we don't really know what we're going to get second half just yet, which I'm going to have a question for that for you a little bit later on. But just the battle testedness of this team, and then the mindset, and Craig Counsell was the perfect manager for that first half of what we just went through. And it's a lot of because of what you just said. He kept this team even keel. And it's the same thing I was trying to teach my little leaguers when I was coaching my son's team. Is like, hey boys, I understand when the bats are swinging hot and everybody's, hitting doubles and triples and the other team is fumbling the ball and throwing it up in the air and you're hitting inside the park home runs. It's great to feel great. But at the same time, on the games where you got a solid pitcher up there that's throwing strikeouts and you're losing, you got to remember, you got to stay even keel throughout the whole process. And I feel like Craig Counsell has pretty much kept this team level-headed throughout this whole process. And it's not just me saying that. It's not even just you saying that. Whatever Bruce Levine was drinking the other day that made him send that tweet out, he's basically saying the same exact stuff. I feel like every Cubs content creator has been saying, like, bro, this does not happen. This is not normal for a team that's went through everything you guys have went through to still be at a level where you're fourth fourth best record in Major League Baseball right now as of today. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, and you look at like other teams around the league that had preseason expectations that maybe weren't performing. I mean, you look at the Mets, for example.
Yep.
Huge payroll. They're terrible. They fired their manager. They want David Stearns fired. The owner's one of the richest owners in baseball, and now he's telling the fans like, "Hey, we got to cut back payroll moving forward. Or we got to get creative moving forward." Like, so there's levels to this. And you look at the
Yeah.
Red Sox, who started the season really, really terrible, fired their manager, and now they're on
Yep.
the come up again. And Phillies, like, they started terrible, they were on the come up, they fired their manager. The Cubs didn't fire Craig Counsell
No.
when things got rough because they said, "Hey, no, well, one, we owe this guy too much money, so we really can't."
Facts.
And two, like, if we trusted him to do the job 2 years ago when the roster was objectively worse than it is right now, then why aren't we going to trust him now? So I got to give credit to Jed Hoyer too, and I like Jed Hoyer, and people aren't going to love to hear that. I do think overall he's pretty good at what he does,
Right.
but keeping that trust with Craig Counsell to just keep the team middle ground, keep them afloat, and now they're in a good spot. I think the only way that I really see why Cubs fans are pessimistic right now is they're still in second place,
Yep.
and they're 5 games behind the Brewers.
Right.
But you can only really control what you can control, and you're going to get to play them 7 times in the second half. So you're
Yep.
going to have the opportunity to control that narrative and say, okay, well, if we want to pass the Brewers, we got to beat the Brewers. And if we can't, then, unfortunately, once again, shake your hands, they get the best of you. So
Yep.
I think there's reason to be optimism because, like how we just mentioned, battle tested, trust, the players trust the managers trust the players, and that's good for a clubhouse.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, we've seen this team at the lowest of lows. Nobody's hitting, pitching is depleted. And this is crazy enough, which I don't know I don't know if you know the backstory on this. Literally, when me and Cody did the show at the beginning of this year, I told Cody, I was like, "Cody, give up on Ben Brown." I was like, "It's over with. The dream's over with, bro." He's like, "Mike, I can't give up on somebody that's got that type of height and that type of stuff, and I can hit it over 100 on the radar gun. I can't do it." I'm like, "Give up, bro. It's done." Like he shouldn't even make this opening day roster this time. I went from that to by the middle of the first half praying to God for a Ben Brown start. Like, please, Jordan, please. Like, he's the only one that's giving us a victory right now. He's the only one keeping the ball in the park. Like, please, Lord, please. And like, talk to me about Ben Brown and your thoughts on him.
I was in the same boat as you, Mike. Like, I was so I went to opening day this year, and Ben Brown came in relief and gave up. Like, the first pitch he threw this year was a home run. Like, it was rookie of the year style, where like the game starts and there's a home run. And I'm sitting there going like, "Oh, this dude still sucks. Like, he's still bad." And then just like as the relief appearances went on, because I was always in the camp of if Ben Brown as a starter is not going to work, I want to see him not in long relief, but I want to see him in like 1 inning, all out, go hunt 3 strikeouts and pound the zone with 99-mile-an-hour fastballs and that curveball. And I was so on that train for the longest time. And then with the injuries, he was just forced to start. So it was kind of like, all right, let's all hold our breaths here. And it worked out. And it worked out perfect for the Cubs until he got injured again. So I feel so bad for the guy. I mean, honestly, he struggled so much. And he talked a lot about mindset with like Taylor McGregor and Elise Menaker. Like he had a lot of stories with those two about like, here's the mindset. It's no longer, oh man, like I got the ball today. It's no, give me the ball today.
Yeah.
It's no longer, oh, I hope this guy doesn't get a hit off me. It's, oh, no, I'm going to make sure he doesn't get a hit off me. So, and baseball's a tough game. Like, you know that. A lot of it's mentality. And so to hear him switch his mentality and then see the progress follow that is, I think, just so speaks a lot to his character. And to see him, I mean, really break his neck or fracture some vertebrae, whatever the diagnosis is, I'd love to see him back for the end of the year. I don't think it's going to happen because we say it's the second half, but it's 66 games. Like you're already almost 100 games in. So you're really really 2/3 of the way done. But man, what a half for him. I just wish it didn't end how it
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I was very, very pleasantly surprised that Ben Brown found something by adding that third pitch, and it changed everything for him. when he was able to start throwing that third pitch competitively, it changed everything for him. I mean, literally, he was catching everybody off guard, and his stuff just worked again. And I'm like, oh my goodness. But I do have to ask you, what is the biggest surprise to you of the first half?
Ooh, I could give you a couple. I want to give you like a something that actually has like shocked me, and that's Nico Horner's regression. I just feel like, I mean, that's like a surprise in the negative way, and I know like surprises usually mean something positive, but
it doesn't have to on here. It doesn't have to.
Fair enough then. I mean, his regression has been surprising, like borderline shocking, because he got the big extension. His April was phenomenal, coming off really a career season last year where he almost won the batting title. I mean, he almost won the batting title batting 295. And if Trey Turner was healthy the last month of the season, he might have had the best average in the National League. So he goes from that to now his OPS starts with a 6. And that's just not Nico Horner. And as the season goes on and they talk about, well, he's trying to pull the ball more and hit for power, which he was for the first month. He had like 4 home runs in April. I think he's had 0 since.
Exactly.
That's surprising. What about you? What's your biggest surprise?
I would say to me, the biggest surprise to me, I have to point to Edward Cabrera. I just thought that we were getting a dude. I thought that, to me, surroundings are everything. And I've never felt Miami is trying to win. Although they get rid of Edward Cabrera, and now, of course, in this season, we're talking about them being a wild card team. I'm like, what in the world is happening? But anyways, that's besides the point. Like, I'm looking at Cabrera. I'm looking at his stats. I'm looking at his demeanor. I'm looking at how he's performing, and I'm saying to myself, he's not ready for the moment. When we got him, I remember doing the show at the beginning of the season and wondering why the Chicago Cubs were talking about him being potentially 3rd, 4th in the rotation. I'm like, 3rd or 4th? I'm like, who do we have that's doing what he's doing that you feel comfortable putting ahead of him? Outside of Cade Horton, I was like, Cade, him. Then let the old established guys round things out with J-Mo probably pitching 5th. But dude, I mean, I look at his demeanor. I look at the pressure moments where, you know what I'm saying, he's loaded the bags. I look at, you know, the moments where he gives up a home run, he just drops his head, and I just tell, like, I don't think he's ever played for something that really matters, like what this team is trying to accomplish. And I think that a lot of the pressure is getting to him, and I think that the injuries suck, but I feel like there's something more. Like you said, I think there's something going on with him, and I think it's mental. I think he's having mental issues that are costing him when he goes to the mound to pitch. And I just expected dude to come out and blow me away with, you know, with that fastball and just like I said, just get a lot of swing and miss, and like I said, add up a bunch of strikeouts. I thought in my head, with the defense we have behind him, he's never had a defense like that before behind him. We could be looking at a potential Cy Young year out of this kid, and I was way wrong.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go, and I'd be very curious. Like, he's a guy I'd say, hey, monitor this guy in the second half, because if we want to see the Cubs go deep in the postseason, I mean, we all know the starting pitching's got to be there, and I would take that a step further of saying, like, he has to pitch well if they want to be there. You know, if you go out and trade for a big starting pitcher, who's following that guy? Like, if you go trade for, I mean, I'll say Clay Holmes, because that's the guy on my wish list. Like, if you go trade for Clay Holmes and he's your game 1 starter, then who's 2? Who's 3? Who's 4?
Right.
Edward Cabrera has to at least be number 3. Like, he has to be 3 on that list, because there's a reason Shodi Managa didn't go to the mound in game 5 last year. Right. Because I'm not a huge Shota guy, but and even not to pick on him. But to your point, Edward Cabrera's got to pick it up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Edward Cabrera has to pick it up, and then Phil Maton has to figure it out. I don't know what happened with that. I have no idea what's going on with that guy. If you look at the stuff he was able to do last year, and then coming into this year, I mean, it's like it's like 2 totally different pitchers. I have no idea what happened to him that caused him to fall off so hard, but We got to get these guys back on track. If we're gonna have any moniker of success, we have to get Edward Cabrera back on track. We got to get Phil Maton being that dependable setup guy, and we got to keep Daniel Palencia healthy. Three things that I'm really looking at, and they all coincidentally have to do with pitching.
Yeah, no doubt. And the bullpen's interesting too, because like you said, Phil Maton's got to figure it out. If the Cubs are going to go to this deadline, they need to add some level of reliever. I think it needs to be some level of right-handed reliever, just because if Phil Maton doesn't figure it out as a righty, you want me to rely on like Thornton or Ferguson to figure it out from the right side? Like that's a tough sell. I have more confidence in like some lefty elevating to be that lefty specialist.
Yeah.
I don't think Caleb Tealbar has been his best this year, but he's starting to kind of have those starts or those outings that we saw last year. Drew Pomeranz is back with the Cubs. Can he find that a little bit? I'm not sure. And Hobie Milner's been hurt with his appendicitis or got his appendix removed, and he was okay before he hit the injured list. So I have more faith in the lefties than I do the righties. But to your point too, like if Phil Maton can figure it out, it's almost like adding someone at the deadline, because he was non-existent in the first half. So if he can figure it out, you add a righty, Palencia comes back healthy. Now you're starting to see this bullpen be like, okay, now we're looking at a bullpen like last year, where there is a level of confidence. Throw in Justin Steele to come out of the bullpen in September as a lefty and throw 20 pitches, 25 pitches at a time. And now you can kind of convince me of something. But it all starts with the starting pitching, because if your starter goes out there and gets blown up in the first 3 innings, well, the bullpen doesn't matter at that point.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're not winning that game unless the other team doesn't have pitching, which we know in the postseason, that's when the pitchers really come to play. And I feel like the way Jed Hoyer approached the offseason, he approached it like he's planning for the postseason. I mean, you look at the money he spent on pitching, you look at the trades and the things he did. He went out there and he specifically picked up pieces that you would expect to perform in the postseason, that have postseason success, or that have just a cannon of an arm. And so my thought process behind this is that he's planning for the Chicago Cubs to be ready for the postseason. And the hope and the idea is that they will be there. I mean, right now we're on schedule to win between 90 95 games. Like I said, so I mean, all goes well, that'll happen, and we'll be happy about that. But then once you get there, you got to get guys in there that are ready to perform. And for me, I want to know from you, what is your biggest disappointment of the first half?
I mean, the biggest disappointment's like kind of out of the Cubs' control, and I think that's just the injuries to Cade Horton, specifically, because it kind of felt like last year where you have all this expectation and you feel like you have the right team and everything seems to be in place. Then Justin Steele goes down, and then this year you're back to like, okay, if Cade Horton is what he is in the second half, and the other guys just kind of do what they have to do, then we have a team. And then Cade Horton goes down. So I'd say that's the biggest disappointment. Like that's more of a bummer, because it's out of their control. I'd say the biggest disappointment would have to be Alex Bregman and just how he's played. I mean, you get paid $35 million and this is what that gets you now. Like, really? Really? And it's tough for me to be mad at Jed Hoyer. Like, well, you had Matt Shaw, who I like Matt Shaw in the second half. He was really good last year. Yeah, he's been hurt too. And you can't just pocket all that money, because then it turns into, well, Jed doesn't spend the money and he can't close a deal. It's like, well, you wanted him to sign Kyle Tucker for double, and he's been terrible. So yeah, it's on the shoulders of Alex Bregman. It's put up or shut up. And I was talking with Cody last night. It's like, even though he's been so terrible, his B-WAR is still like 2.4. So like he still is bringing some level of value, but that slug has to come up. It just has to. We don't need a slap hitter hitting singles. Like that's what we need Nico Horner to be. We need Alex Bregman to be smoking it down the line, gap to gap power, putting runs on the board. And the last 2 weeks we saw that. And I got to give a quick shout out to like Brendan Miller on Twitter. For the people who don't follow him, give him a follow. He's been covering a lot of the Alex Bregman adjustments, and he has like these 3D models that show his swing path and how he's been adjusting over the season. So super informative stuff. Like if you want to get down to the real nitty gritty nerd stuff of batting, go follow Brendan Miller, because I am not smart enough to explain that to anybody. But he's been the biggest disappointment. But I do think he's one of the guys I trust the most to turn it around in the second half. He's been in the league too long, man, and like his resume speaks for itself. And I have faith he's going to get back to that. You know, if he could OPS 780 to 800 in the second half, like that's what the Cubs just need him to be.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. And honestly, I think that we started seeing something. The Red Series is where I started to see the fruition of what he was doing, of the changes he's making. But he's been making changes for the past, I feel like 2 to 3 weeks, even before then, really trying to find, okay, how can I become Alex like I was in Houston? And again, when I think of Alex Bregman, like you said, I'm not thinking about singles. I'm not thinking about taking walks. I'm thinking about a guy that's hitting doubles. I'm thinking about a guy that's driving in runs. That's why you hit him second or third in the lineup. Like I said, you get the PCA on. He's driving him in immediately. You know, and you if you get him and Bush ahead, or him and whoever else is ahead of him in there. Like I said, I mean, I'm just very, very, very hopeful that this is what we're about to see from him. That like he's about to really turn it on in the second half, because again, we are going to need that. You know, like I said, we are about to start getting the very best from teams, and we have the fourth toughest strength of schedule left to play. So again, it's going to be imperative that somebody that's making $35 million a year come through for this team, because that's what we paid for you for. You know, and again, like I said, we don't want this. I felt so bad because it's his first year here, and people are already comparing his contract to Jason Hayward. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, Jason Hayward was here for a long time, you know, before that contract really, really lost its value. Like, I mean, like it dropped quick, but it really, really lost its value probably around like year 3 of that deal, or, you know, but geez, I mean, he's first half, and they're like, oh my God, this is Jason Hayward all over again. And, you know, like I said, you hear from Cubs fans, and you see it all the time on Cubs social media, you know, and I was one of the people. It did a couple episodes about Bregman, and I'm like, guys, like, Bregman is a problem. Michael Bush has not been good either. Up until 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I felt like Miguel Amaya hadn't been really that great either. I felt like he was empty ABs every time. I'm like, I kind of almost wish Carson Kelly would start playing more, you know. But like I said, because it was like, man, like, dude, every single time he goes up, it's either he's a pop out, you know, or a line out, or a ground out, or something like that. And I'm just like, man, so. But he has started to pick things up too. Miguel Amaya is starting to find his way a little bit. Be interested to see what they decide to do with him and with Carson Kelly, because I think Carson Kelly's deal is done after this year, right?
Yeah, he's off the books at the end of this year. So,
like I said, so what do you do? Would you offer him another deal? Do you let him go? Does he maybe retire? I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know his age. I don't know if he's ready yet to do that, or if he'll go somewhere else probably. But I mean, he's still a very good catcher, I think, you know.
Yeah, he's done good with, like, I remember I was at the winter meetings 2 years ago when they signed Carson Kelly, and I popped a little video up on social media in the hotel lobby. Me and Jacob Zanola were there, and just like the comments were so mean toward Carson Kelly, and I was like, I kind of like, it's a good depth signing. Like, it's just like if you need this guy to perform, you know, I'd love to watch him every couple days, and you know, he's been way more than anything, but at like more than a depth signing. So we'll see how that develops over time, man. Because now they got this Owen Ayers kid in AAA that just got promoted. He's slashing like an OPS of 900 plus, batting 313 at AA. So we'll see how that kid progresses in the next half season. That could kind of determine what they want to do, because Owen Ayers is 25, so like he's an older prospect, but he's not. You know, he's not in his mid-30s, right? So, like, is he the future of the catching position for the Cubs? We'll see. Obviously, Moises Ballesteros is still around. I don't think they see him as a catcher long-term. I think they just pencil him as a DH, because if they saw Ballesteros as a long-term option at catcher, I think he would have caught more when he was with the team. I think he caught like 3 games. You know, if they actually had confidence, they would have found a way to get him in. They just would have. I mean, that's what Craig Counsell does with guys he believes in. Like, he finds at bats for him, you know? So, yeah, we'll see how that progresses over time. But as far as the lineup goes, like I think in the second half, they're in a good spot, like position to position. The good thing about this Cubs team too, Mike, is like there's no position battles still. Like it's
Yeah,
not like we're not sitting here arguing like Kevin Alcantara should play every day. Like no one's saying like the only argument I could see like for a little bit was Pedro Ramirez could have got Dansby Swanson off his feet for a few days when he was
sure.
batting sub 200. Like that was at least a little bit. Yeah, I could see that, give him a little bit of a break, but no one was clamoring like bench Dansby for the rest of the year. Like that's
No.
he makes too much money. Like it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So as far as this lineup goes, I'm confident in it because it's like these are your guys. Like whether you like them or not, like this is your team.
Yeah.
Like, the trade rumors around this team are not looking to get the best bat on the market because even then, like Joe Adell, Taylor Ward, like
Right.
they're not really sexy bat options out there. So
No.
I like where they're at least from
Yeah.
the offensive side of things.
This team, as far as ABs, this team is going to live and die by PCA. It would be
100%.
candy sweet if Seiya Suzuki could become just a little bit more consistent for my liking.
Mm-hmm.
Ian Happ is what he is. You're going to get what you're going to get. That is what that is. I mean, like I said, he's going to have a couple weeks where he looks unstoppable, and he's going to have a time period where it's like, dude, it's like an eyesore watching you at the plate. And just is what it is. But Seiya is somebody that I think has another level he just hasn't tapped into, and I don't know what to do to get him to tap into that level. Like I don't. I know it's there. You could tell that it's there. Like there's another level for him to get to as a hitter. You know, because clearly all his teammates, his coaches, everybody else sees it because they every time they talk about this guy, they say he's the best hitter on the team. And I'm just like, and I mean, it's everybody saying it. Last year, when Kyle Tucker was on the team, they was like, Seiya Suzuki is still the best hitter on this team. And I'm like, okay, I understand, guys. I don't see it. Like, because to me, when I think best hitter, I also think consistency. You know,
Right.
like we don't go a week without a hit, you know. Like I said, we don't go a whole series, you know, where like I said, where you only get a single or something like that. Like when you're the best or one of the best in the league, man, like you may have a day, you may have 2 days, but you're gonna eventually come through for your team. And like we've come to expect that from PCA, and we've kind of laid off of that from Seiya. And I'm just like, Seiya's in a contract year, guys. Ian Happ is in a contract year. So I'm going to pose the same question to you that I posed to Cody. End of the season. Let's say the end of the season was today.
Okay.
You are Jed Hoyer. You have to make the decision now on who you want to offer a contract to. Ian Happ, Seiya Suzuki, you can only keep one.
Yeah, if it's a 1-to-1 option, it is like a tough question. I know some fans absolutely hate Ian Happ. I'm not really one of those people that hate Ian Happ. I see the value he brings.
Sure.
But this year his philosophy has just changed so much, and it's just such a high strikeout rate. Like I don't need Ian Happ to hit me 30 home runs. Like that's why I have Michael Busch, and that's why I have PCA, and that's why I have Seiya Suzuki. Those are the guys I need to hit 30 home runs. I don't really need that from Ian Happ. So I'd have to pick Seiya in this case scenario, just because he's got more power. And I think when they're both locked in, you know, I like Seiya better in that role. I mean,
his ceiling's higher for Seiya, for sure.
Yeah, and his heaters are unreal. Like he's hitting moonshots.
Yeah.
And he sees the ball well, and he's picked up his defense a little bit. And actually, I mean, kind of going back to a point you had earlier, is like you said you thought he had like another gear that he could tap into. I think we see that, and I'm curious of your thoughts on this. I think we see that when he's not starting in right field every day.
Yeah.
Like when Kyle Tucker was in right field, that was his best season.
Yeah.
It was his healthiest season.
Yeah.
It was because it was just like, hey, dude, here's your bat. This is all you need to bring to the ballpark. Go hit the tees. Go hit the simulators. Go do whatever, because you're the guy we need to hit 30 home runs at OPS 860, 850, whatever.
Yep.
That's the version of Seiya that made the offense so good last year. And if it's going to be great this year, and Seiya was great in the postseason too, like make no mistake. Brewer fans were even saying in like my mentions, like, we're glad Seiya didn't come up in this spot. We're glad Michael Busch, because like Seiya kills the Brewers, and when he is locked in, he's one of the best hitters, not on the team, but like in baseball. Like when you
Right.
watch that guy hit when he's locked in, he hits the ball so hard. So to answer your question, there's a long way of saying Seiya Suzuki. But if I had to give you my honest opinion, I don't think either of them are back next year.
Yo, that's
But
crazy. Cody said the same thing. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, really? Neither one of them is back next year? Like,
Well, think about this, Mike. So, like, give me an example of the past where Jed Hoyer has taken a player to the extension room, and if they don't get it done, then he re-signs them in the offseason. Like, if you look back even, in history, I'd say the only guy like Javier Baez, there was rumors of him trying to get an extension done. COVID happened. It fell apart. We know what happened.
right.
They never really went to the negotiation table with Chris Bryant. I think they were kind of done with that. Anthony Rizzo got a contract extension. I think there was just some disagreements on the numbers. Nothing happened, but he never took Wilson Contreras to the extension table. Didn't happen. In 2022 or 3, whatever year, I'm getting them mixed up now. Nico Hoerner, Ian Happ got those extensions because Jed Hoyer's like, yeah, we want to extend them. And then you look to this season, the Nico Hoerner rumors were there. All right, let me rephrase this. The PCA rumors were there. The extension got done. Nico Hoerner was a little bit more of a surprise, but if you remember in spring training, they asked 3 people if they've talked extensions. They asked Ian Happ if they've talked extensions. He said nope. They asked Seiya Suzuki about an extension. He said nope. And they asked Nico Hoerner if they talked extension. He goes, I declined to respond. Like, I look at that and go, okay, like Jed Hoyer knows who he wants to keep around because make no mistake about it too. Like Jed Hoyer's always searching for the best deal. So is he going to get the best deal if Ian Happ goes out there and hits 30 bombs this year? Like I'm sure another team would be happy to have that. So I think he's kind of made kind of made up his mind what he wants to do with those 2 players. And I would be surprised if one of those 2 were back next year, to be completely honest. If they were both gone, I wouldn't be shocked.
Dang, just blew my mind right here. Breaking news. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Blake, no, I never thought about it like that. Like, and I guess as a podcaster, I guess we're kind of, supposed to kind of think in the mind of our president and our GM and how they do things and notice their trends or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And that totally went right over my head. The fact that he hasn't brought either of them to the table to negotiate any type of extension. I mean, we were hearing before last year they wanted to re-sign PCA or extend PCA to a deal. And like I said, and I mean, as early as in the middle of the season after his All-Star appearance, they were talking about extending him. Nico, again, that one was more of a shock now that you mentioned it. Pitching wise, like I said, I can't think of anybody that he talked pitching wise extension with and it happened or did not happen. But yeah, man, I mean, wow.
And if you look at the free agent market this upcoming year, if there is a free agency with the lockout and all of the politics that are going to go into that, you look at the bats and you look at them and go, man, Seiya and Ian Happ are kind of toward the top of this list, like on the positional player side of things. So they're already going to free agency. Like, I don't think an extension gets done now. I honestly don't know if you can after a certain date, probably, but maybe not. So like other teams are going to, like Seiya Suzuki, he's making $18 million this year, Mike. He's worth, I don't want to say way more, but he's definitely worth more than $18 million. Ian Happ, you could, $20 million, I think is kind of where he's at. Maybe he'd probably take a discount to stay with the Cubs if they wanted him back. But Seiya Suzuki is the best contract Jed Hoyer's put out there since he's taken over because you're paying $18 million to that guy. Like when he's on, he's on. So I'd be shocked to see that everyone back. What about you? What would you pick?
Well, you blow my mind now. But if I had to pick between the 2, obviously I would pick Seiya Suzuki. Again, just because his ceiling is higher. I appreciate everything Ian Happ has done. He has a trophy room full of Gold Glove awards. Like I said, he was a leader on this team. He has a podcast that is pretty dope. Like I said, everything like that he does. And again, I just think that, but his lows are really, really low. And for somebody that came into this season with the mindset of, okay, I need to replace some of what we lost with Kyle Tucker. I need to be more of a threat, a home run threat. And then to see what he did with runners in scoring position over the first half of the season, I'm like, bud, like that's not it. Can you revert back to the other other way you used to be, like other mindset, the other thinking. So like we can just
Right.
get on base, bro. Like take your walks. You know, Ian Happ was always he gets on base, takes his walks. You know what I'm saying? He will hit a bomb when he needs to. But I mean, like I said, he was just a disciplined AB every single time, and he's a switch hitter, and these are all things that make him very, very dangerous. And, you know, but I just, again, like you said, just noticing the trends this year with him just have not been great. But there is some sucker team out there that is going to absolutely overpay for a four-time Gold Glove left fielder that has done a lot in this league. He's an all-star. He's a four-time Gold Glover. I mean, if you're talking about a championship team or a team away, a outfielder away from like really, really competing, if I was Ian Happ, I'd try to go over to the American League and see what I could get over there. Like I said, see if there's a team over there that can use my services. You know, I mean,
as a 7-hole hitter for the Cubs, he's fine. Like,
yeah,
he's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if Shohei LeBron needs help over there in left field or not. But I mean, hey, Ian Happ, you know, if you're overpaying for Kyle Tucker, might as well go ahead and grab Ian Happ too. You know.
If Ian Happ gets paid $60 million, Mike, I'll get a tattoo of Ian Happ's face on my lower back. I don't know if we can talk on this show, so
on his derriere, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll keep it PG. If Ian Happ gets paid $60 million by the Dodgers, I'll get a tattoo of his face on me.
I'm holding you to that, Blake, and I'm going with you to go get the tattoo.
Deal.
So, what are your expectations heading into the second half of the season, man?
Expectations for me, I mean, the division for me is not off the table. It's just not. 5 games. Like the whatever the Milwaukee Brewers have over us, like at some point it has to come to pass. And I think I'm just going to fall into that every year till it actually does.
Yeah.
But it's 5 games. And if you look at what the Brewers have the first ranked hardest strength of schedule left.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because in the last week, like I probably wouldn't have said that a week ago. And then the last week we gained 2.5 games on them. We got it back to 5 games. And then Kyle Harrison went down with an injury. Mizorowski missed a start for arm fatigue, which maybe precautionary. Give him a couple extra days. Give him a full week and a half off. Like maybe precautionary, but we'll see. We'll monitor that.
Sure.
And you just look at the other parts of their team and go, okay, if they don't have their starting pitching, like their offense is still very good. Don't get me wrong. Like they don't have the guys that are going to hit it out of the ballpark on you, but they got their regular guys of slapstick guys that are going to get on base and push the pressure on the base paths.
Yep.
But if the Cubs go out there in the second half and play what the lineup should play to and add another starting pitcher, which I think that should be an expectation for the fans toward Jed Hoyer and this team, toward Twinkle D and Tweakle Dum. Go get a starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then we're in the same spot we were last year.
Yep.
All right, this team's going to win a playoff series, and then, we're going to run into a team that just is better than us. And I think if you look at the National League and you look at the landscape of the National League, if you go add a frontline starter, and I don't know really who that is. It's so tough. Like I'm saying Clay Holmes because I just like his sinker sweeper mix. He's right-handed, worked with Ben Brown the offseason. So there's like that familiarity there. I think he's fun, but I don't consider Clay Holmes like ace level, Christopher Sanchez, Mizorowski level. But I love to go see him get Joe Ryan or Logan Webb. I mean, absolutely. But that's the next tier. Like that's what I'm talking about, big trade package tier. So the expectations to add a starting pitcher and just give this team an opportunity. And if you bow out to the Dodgers and the NLDS, if that's how it lands, then so be it. But the tier 2 teams in the National League are all close. Like we're a half game ahead of the Philadelphia Phillies. We're a half game behind the Atlanta Braves.
Yep.
And we're 5 games behind the Brewers, who I think we could still catch. Like whoever wins the Central, Mike, is going to get a bye in the postseason, which you and I both know last year, if they win the Central, Game 5's at Wrigley Field, then the Cubs probably win that game.
Absolutely.
Like Wrigley Field's a tough place to go win in the postseason. So my expectations go win the division and get a bye in the postseason. Will that happen? We'll see. But I'm choosing to stay optimistic. What's your expectation here?
I'm kind of on board. Same thing with you. Central is still up for grabs. I think that the Chicago Cubs absolutely can close this gap to make this interesting all the way down to the end. The Brewers have been oddly healthy this season. Not the same injuries. Like, I mean, even Christian Yelich, who I cannot stand. I can't tell you if I hate Ryan Braun or Christian Yelich more, but I can't stand either one of them.
That's a
But
good question.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, for me, like I said, even Christian Yelich has been like fairly healthier than normal. So to me, in my eyesight, I've always looked at baseball, especially since I've been covering it as much as I have since I took over Century Channel, like that always be super high. And I feel like the Brewers have found themselves consistently at the first part of the season. Like, I went up too many games for you not to have a time period where you don't win as much. Now, the question is, when that low hits the Brewers, will the Chicago Cubs be struggling at that same time?
Right.
Because if that happens, well, then you're screwed. Because then, like I said, it doesn't matter. I mean, like I said, they're keeping a game ahead of you and everything like this. When you start talking about playoff race and playoff positioning and where you want to be at, the Chicago Cubs have to execute and they have to take care of business. You're supposed to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. And again, with the 50-50 teams, there ain't many 50-50 teams. You're going to see the Yankees and Dodgers back to back on a weekend and then a weekday series. Outside of that, I mean, it's a lot of divisional games that you're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're going to see Seattle, which Luis Castillo. I mean, I love to hear before we get off your thoughts on should they maybe look at that for a trade option. But again, my mindset, my expectation is try your everything as an organization to win the Central this year. And the only reason why I'm putting that pressure on them is because they put that pressure on themselves at the beginning of the season. They were talking World Series. They were saying, we know we're good enough to win the Central. They were talking all these different things, big cheese. You still got to come through for some of that. Even with the injuries, even with everything that's happened, you still got to live up or at least give us the impression that you're trying. If you go out here and do nothing at the trade deadline and you allow this team to stay put as is, even with gaining healthier pitchers back, you still tell the fan base, hey, I didn't believe in this team enough to really go out and trade any young prospect because I just don't think this team is good enough to do that.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree with you. And I want to throw this just thought out there that I've been just totally grappling with for the last week, because I'm at the point now where I'm ready for them to start playing again so I can just focus on the games. But like here's where I'm at with like the trade deadline. At least it takes two to tango, right? Last season was, I would say, an underwhelming trade deadline for the Cubs because like they were in the talks for the Mackenzie Gores of the world and the Joe Ryans. And then it was reported the trade packages that were wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like Cade Horton and Matt Shaw and Moises Ballesteros. And Jed Hoyer was like, nope. None of them are going to be included. And we all know what happened. None of them got traded. Everyone passed because the prices are astronomical. But I think part of that, him saying no, was because there was a lot more question marks around this roster. If you traded Matt Shaw, it was like, who's playing third base? You had Kyle Tucker in a walk year. You didn't have PC on extension, and you didn't know what he was going to be moving forward. And you didn't have Nico Horner inked up for a long time. So, like, the roster was just, there was a lot of fluidity there. And I look at the team this year and go, well, your center fielder's locked up. Your whole infield's locked up. Your catcher's pretty much figured out. Your pitchers, they're not good. But you look at the corner outfielders and say, those are the only two real question marks here. And you have a farm system loaded with outfielders. So I look at guys like Jefferson Rojas, who is the number one prospect. I look at Josiah Hartshorn, who's 19 years old and has really been tearing it up, but he's 19 years old. Like, he's doing this in high A. There's a lot of guys that tear up high A and then get to triple A and don't do anything.
Right.
I mean, we're familiar with the Matt Mervises of the world that go hit 30 home runs in triple A and then come to find out Major League Baseball is a lot harder. Same thing with the Kevin Alcantaras of the world. So I look at this farm system and go, who's untouchable?
Yeah.
None of these guys are top 10 prospects. None of them. And I look at the Cubs team and I asked Jed Hoyer, and I asked him this last year. I didn't actually, but this rhetorically asked him.
Sure.
If not now, when? This is your team. Like, this is your team. If the Alex Bregman PCA Cubs don't work out, you don't have a job in Major League Baseball, because you can't sell me on the 2036 Cubs and say, all right, well, we messed up 10 years ago. I'm ready to build a winner this time. No, Mike. Like, when you mess up, your chance is done. Major League Baseball. There's a reason there's 30 president of baseball operations in Major League Baseball. 30 guys get to have this job. And I'm sure there's 130 more that are banging at the door ready to bust into this office and take it from them.
It's true.
Long-winded way of saying, I look at this deadline and go, who are you prospect hugging? Because who is taking a position on this field? I'd say the only guy who is untouchable in my mind at this deadline from like a prospect standpoint, and he's not even a prospect anymore, would be Matt Shaw. And that's because he can play the corner outfield. He can play the infield. He had 130 WRC plus in the second half last year. So, like, he's shown that he can hit at this level. He's hit at every other level at a high pace. He blitzed through the minors in 2.5 seasons or 1.5 seasons. He's just been hurt, so he hasn't really had that opportunity. I think he actually is the starting left fielder next year for the Cubs. But outside of him, I look around and go, who's untouchable? Like, if we go out and don't trade for a starting pitcher that can help us, I asked Jed Hoyer why. Because you want Jefferson Rojas to be a part of this team in 4 years? Like, buddy, your job's toast by then. Like, if you haven't even sniffed a pennant, like the World Series talk, like ring culture in baseball, just like in basketball, it makes a little more sense. Like in baseball, it's ring culture is not a thing.
Yeah.
Like no one looks at Mike Trout and go, well, he's won no World Series, so he's not a Hall of Famer. Like, no. Mike Trout's a first ballot, like slam dunk Hall of Famer.
Without question.
Without question. So I just say, like, you have to put this team in a best position to go get to the World Series. And if you fall short in the NLCS to the Dodgers, I will walk away from this season with a huge smile on my face. Absolutely. Because making the NLCS and making the Final Four of Major League Baseball is hard. Yeah. And when you get there, you just like, you remember those rides to get there. Like everyone remembers 2015, 2016. Even a big chunk of 2020, 2017, when they made the NLCS, like you enjoy the ride to get there. So again, long-winded way of saying, and hopefully your listeners kind of take away from that too, is like, when you look at these prospects and you look at these trade packages, are you really going to be upset if a 19-year-old in high A gets traded, if it means you get a year and a half of Joe Ryan on your team?
Not me.
If you say yes, not me either. So that's going to be the most interesting thing for me this deadline is who are they really willing to part with? Because I don't think outside of Matt Shaw, I mean, I don't see anyone in that farm system that's a slam dunk future all-star, you know?
Yeah. And what I want everybody to start wrapping their heads around is the fact that also might cost us Moises Ballesteros too.
Agreed.
Moises Ballesteros might not be on this team past the deadline. I don't think Kevin Alcantara, who I don't think has any more options, should be on this team past the deadline. Like if Kevin Alcantara is still a Chicago Cub past this deadline and we haven't added anything of substance, I'm looking at Jed Hoyer a lot different, because I mean, again, we've seen the best we're going to get out of him. You know, again, I think at best he's a good bench player, you know, in the majors as of right now, and that doesn't mean he can't become more. But again, sell now while there's still question out there before people know officially what he is. Like that's how you maximize and get the most out of your prospects. That's why they're called prospects, because you're looking at them like what they could be. Like, hey, man, I mean, you see what he did in AAA. He was tearing it up, hit 17 home runs, yada, yada, yada. Sell him now because we don't know if he's going to do that in the majors.
And,
you know?
And that's what they're doing with Pedro Ramirez. Like, there's a reason he's not in AAA right now, and there's a reason he's really not playing either, because they don't want people to get the book on Pedro Ramirez. Like, and they don't want him to get hurt. So, hey, go sit on the major league bench. We're going to shop you. You're a switch-hitting middle infielder that did Jed Hoyer a ton of favors by cracking the top 100 prospects list. So now you go to team and say, here's a top 100 switch hitting infielder that we want to frontline this trade package. So like we talk about Moises Ballesteros, I would be kind of surprised if he was traded at the deadline, but I wouldn't be like shocked. Pedro Ramirez, I would be surprised if Pedro was not traded at the deadline. It just makes too much sense.
Yeah, agreed. And with how they've been. With how they, like you said, with how they have maneuvered him, called him up, kept him, let him play a little bit, hitting a couple spots and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I'm right there with you. But listen, Blake, we got to have you back, bud. We got to have you back. Like I said, this has been a blast, man. Thank you so much for joining in on Chicago Cubs Central. Tell everybody where they can find you at one last time.
Yeah, Blake Cowell X on X, Blake Cowell X on everything. That's COWELL. Along with I just partnered up with Fanatics Fan Advisory Network. So we're going to be doing a lot of cool things moving forward, a lot of cool things in the works, just like fan interaction stuff. So drop a follow on all platforms so you can kind of keep up to date with that, like in-person fan events. So looking forward to helping headline that as well. But thanks again, Mike. This was a ton of fun. And I look forward to interacting more in the future about how this Cubs team can get to the playoffs and beyond.
Absolutely. That is the goal. And guys, you already know you can follow me everywhere on Chicago Cubs Central, Cubs Central Pod, everywhere where you can find social media and everything like that. Also, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. If you are watching on Apple, or if you are watching on X, or if you are watching on Spotify, make sure that you guys leave a 5-star review and comment. Please, it helps out with us so much. Until next time, guys, that's Blake Cowell. This is Mike Jones. Until next time, go Cubs, go. Peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.